Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the All-Star AD here on the Educational AD Podcast. This is our series featuring 10 great women athletic directors sharing their views and their perspective on challenges that all athletic directors face. We'll get right back with today's All-Star AD, but first we want to acknowledge our podcast partners, We Coach, the Florida Coaches Coalition, the global community of women in high school sports, and Vital Signs Wall of Fame. You've heard me say before, these are 4 great organizations you need to add to your network. And now don't hit that fast forward button. Stay with us for the next 3 minutes. Take a listen to our podcast sponsors. These are also companies that you should allow to serve you. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Snap Mobile for their support of the podcast. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their entire suite of platforms, including SnapRaise, their fundraising platform. We used it at our school, and our parents, our coaches, everybody just loved it. More importantly, it works. They've helped schools just like yours raise over $700 million. They even have a program where you can get your funding before you actually start your fundraiser. Nobody else does that. Go to snapraise.com. Find out more about their entire suite of platforms. That's snapraise.com. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com. Change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. When I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, our athletes, teams, they just love the tools that go with the Huddle platform. It's a professional grade solution to the challenges that we all face. At Huddle, we believe in sports and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 6 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com right now and schedule a live web demo and see their tables and their boards in action. They not only generate income for your department, they also create the ultimate game day experience for your athletes. That's sidelineinteractive.com. Check them out today. We want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. You know, they're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. The Wall of Fame is an interactive touchscreen video console that recognizes your students, both past and present, in all areas of your school's life. But it's more than that. It also allows you to tell more compelling stories that'll better engage your audience. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Tell them you heard about it on the podcast, and you'll get a nice discount. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to gipper.com. See how athletic directors create custom content for their school's social media channels. It's all about marketing and branding today, and Gipper is the best place to help you turn your branding program, your social media, into a world-class display. That's Gipper.com. Tell them you heard about it on the podcast. Gipper.com. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Do I need to say anything more? Go to hometownticketing.com. They're going to show you how to set up and sell tickets online, not just for athletics, but things like school dances, school plays, concerts, even graduation. And the best part, they're going to provide you with a dedicated client success manager just for you that's going to provide hands-on support every step of the way. Go to hometownticketing.com and get started. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys. At my schools, we use surveys for just about everything, and so should you. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to show you how they can create a custom survey that'll allow you to take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes. You're already hearing back from the 2% that want to complain, that squeaky wheel parent and others. And we need to hear from them. But Athletic Surveys allows you to hear from the other 98% that really love and support your program. And that's a tremendously valuable tool to have when you're talking to that squeaky wheel parent or your school board or your principal. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Get started today. athleticsurveys.com. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the All-Star AD here on the Educational AD Podcast. This is our series featuring 10 great women athletic directors from the state of Florida, and they share their views on topics that affect athletic directors everywhere. Our guest today is a podcast veteran, Arianne Seidl. She is the director of athletics at Lake Wales High School right here in the state of Florida. So, Arianne, welcome back. And what do you have for our listeners today on All-Star AD?
Well, thanks for having me again. Again, most of my kids and people I'm around, they call me Coach A, so that's what I'm used to. I would like to talk about our Women of Will program, or it's called WOW. And we started it last year with the help kind of in the push from our Under Armour sponsorship with BSN. And they just kind of give you the startup and you kind of go with it how you want to. So we went ahead and set it up where any of our female athletes or anyone can really join. It's not just for the athletes, but that's what a lot of our topics, again, are specific for. And we started with just once a month meetings and working through schedules. Sometimes we miss a month here or there, but last year we started off with a Octavius Freeman. She was actually just this past Saturday recognized in our Highlander Hall of Fame by our booster club. She is a 4-time state champion in the 100-meter in Florida and has many, many accolades, and came in and spoke to our female athletes about being a female athlete. And that is one of the big purposes of Women of Will, is to just give our young females that sense of where do I belong? Who do I listen to? What does my future going to look like? How should I feel as an athlete in high school? And she did a lot of that. And again, didn't really recognize her own accolades, which was like, she could talk forever about that. She just talked to them about what it was like to be a female athlete and stand up to what you believe in, and just gave them some good, helpful tips for their future. And so that's how we started. And I'm like, how can I, do better than this? But then we did some other activities. We have a ropes course, a low ropes course, and oh no. So we wanted to see how we could go from Octavius and keep going. And so we started some other activities, like I had mentioned, and with our ropes course, and just had some girls come out there and work together. And we just built some leadership through that. And then at the end of the year, I actually went to Auburndale High School and attended the 50th year celebration for Title IX with Miss Lancaster. And so kind of used some of her ideas to have our own celebration here. And we brought in our veteran softball coach, Nancy Denton, and then also one of the very first female collegiate football kickers whose son go here to school, and it was actually a coach here. So I feel it's really important. One of the really big things I want to promote is that we bring a lot of local people, local female athletes in, and pride ourselves that our community has these individuals that can share their leadership and share their what they have done in the past and what they're doing now as female athletes. And so they were too phenomenal. It was amazing. We had food and gifts, and the girls loved to hear Nancy's stories about how she first had to play baseball with all boys, and then grew from that, and then became a state championship softball coach. And then hearing again with Ashley, she kind of, even though she was in a different generation, she still, for the competitiveness, did play with boys in soccer. And then again, she played for Jacksonville State and on the football team. So just again, the different opportunities that female athletes have, we want to show those opportunities to our athletes. We started it again this year, but we also brought in the middle school. And so we have had meetings with our high school girls and the middle school girls. And we did the ropes course again. And we also had, we watched the video with the Duke head basketball coach. She does on Do Hard Better. It's a phenomenal video. And then just had them sit in groups and talk about leadership and what it meant to be a leader in athletics. So now this Thursday, we've expanded it even more, and we have our high school girls, our middle school girls, and we are joining with Warner University with their lacrosse team to go there and meet together and do some leadership activities, have lunch together, and then also just have our young girls get to tour a university. So it allows the college girls to be the leaders, and then high school girls to follow that leadership, and then again the middle school leaders. So I just really awesome how the program continues to build, and we can have the leadership across the grade levels and into the different schools here in Lake Wales. And we continue to have great speakers. Last month, we had a former Highlander soccer player, and she was actually one of my students when she was in middle school, and which makes me feel so proud that they're coming back and they want to talk. And she said, man, I want to be back in high school so I can be part of this program. This is great to be a female athlete and get these experiences. And she talked about not wanting to be a leader, and in high school she was a goalie, so she kind of got away with hiding in the background and doing her thing, and then got into college, and freshman and sophomore years still didn't have to be that leader. But then her junior and senior year, her coach said, you have to be the leader. And so for our girls to hear that was a great story, and kind of an indication on, if you want to continue to try to hide back and be quiet, sometime it's going to happen, and you're going to have to step up. If you have the skill level and ability, someday you're going to have to step up and use those leadership skills that you most likely have built because you've been in the sport for so long, that you can share them. But it encouraged, and just her positive attitude was great for our girls. And also our coaches are included in the meetings, and they love to see former athletes come back and be a part of our program and share their stories. And we also have another part is the community-based part, and we've taken some of our athletes into the elementary school even. So we're going K through college, and I love that piece. And then one other piece that is, because we're associated with BSN and Under Armour, they do awards each year and so we have nominated ours, and we just got information today that she's getting her award, and we have to figure out how to present it to her. And just one more, recognition that she can have as she continues on into her collegiate career, and add to those scholarship applications. So lots of different opportunities that Women of Will has given to a wide variety of our athletes.
Boy, you and I were talking before about the importance of leadership and training leadership, just like you train speed or strength or skill. And you're taking it to that extra level, with women. We've talked about it before. Athletic directing and coaching. It's still a male-dominated sport, and so to have these women leaders come in, these successful state champions, collegians, et cetera, to let the girls see them and say, hey, I can do that, or at least I can try to do that. What a great program. Arianne, thanks so much for sharing that. Before we go, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and pick your brain a little bit more about Women of Will or the Under Armour connection, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
They can, phone is great. I don't mind answering my phone, 863-241-3405. Or my email is my name, Arianne, Arianne, and then the period, Seidl, Seidl, at LW Charter Schools with an S on the end.com.
Arianne Seidl, Athletic Director, Lake Wales High School. Thanks so much for sharing today on All-Star AD, and all the best moving forward. For our listeners, we do this every week, and we upload the Zoom videos to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening. Come back next Thursday for another All-Star AD, and just about every day on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. We want to thank our sponsors before we leave. Gipper.com, custom content. It's all about branding your teams. Go to Gipper.com, mention the podcast, you'll get a nice little discount. Hometown Ticketing, go to hometownticketing.com. They're the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Hometownticketing.com. Huddle, if you're looking for a complete solution to video and analytics and stats for all your teams, it's not just football anymore. Turn your school into a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com. We want to thank Snap Mobile, particularly Snap Raise, their fundraising platform. Does any other fundraising platform give you your money before you actually do your fundraiser? I don't think so. Go to snapraise.com to get started. We want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Check out their great products. When you're ready to buy, use the link vitalsignswalloffame.com/Jake. Give you a nice discount. We want to thank Sideline Interactive. One of the best purchases I ever made as an AD was my Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Schedule a live web demo of their products right now. Sidelineinteractive.com. And Athletic Surveys. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They'll show you how they can create a custom survey that will allow you to take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes. Most of them love your program anyway. Collect that data, and then you can use it when you're talking to that squeaky wheel parent or your principal or your school board. Thanks again for listening to this episode of All-Star AD. We will see you next week on the Educational AD Podcast.